guys, and welcome to the chat. We have a fantastic person having some conversations with us today. Wonderful gentleman with a wonderful heart. And just sit back, take your time, listen to what he has to share. I think that his words are going to impact you. Right. So, some people may probably be seeing you and thinking, I know this face. And then other people may be seeing you and thinking, oh, him, there's a man from a bed. He always in there like a bolt of fabric. But you are Suleiman Bulbulia. But for the people who may not know who you are, tell us who is Suleiman Bulbulia.
Well, I am a Barbadian, like every other Barbadian.
Oh, you're born here.
Even though the name don't signify that I'm Bajan, I don't know what that means. I was in a government office the other day and I gave my name on the form and the lady said, "What's your nationality?" I said, well, "I'm a Barbadian." Why? Oh, that name don't sound so. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, yes, I'm a Barbadian. Born, grew up here, went to school, Christchurch Foundation.
And my brothers.
At University of West Indies. So yes, got involved from an early age in civil society activities, especially for the Muslim community of Barbados, and grew from there. I mean, it's been a wonderful journey, experiences. You've learned a lot. You've interacted with a lot of people that I've learned from over the years, and happy to have gone through that journey and those experiences that brought me to the point I am at today. So yeah, I'm here.
And you mentioned the Muslim Association because I think that is probably one of the first things I associated you with in terms of your public work. I call that public work. You're no chairman of the NCD Commission, but what other boards do you hold positions on?
Well, so yes, I started out as a secretary of the Barbados Muslim Association, which I held the position since year 2000. And through that, then I've gotten involved in other civil society organizations. Over the years, I've sat on the board of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, CBC. I've sat on the board of the Barbados Broadcasting Authority, St. Michael's School Board. I've worked with the Ministry of Culture in a number of activities in terms of building out culture from a East Indian Muslim perspective. I have been a member of the Republican Status Transition Advisory Committee. So when Barbados transitioned from being a constitutional monarchy to a republic in 2021, I was fortunate to have an opportunity to sit on the committee that helped advise on that transition. I currently sit on the Commission for Constitutional Reform as a commissioner, among other commissioners, to look at reforming Barbados's constitution. So yeah, that's been part of my journey here. I have sat on the Religious Advisory Committee on National Affairs, which was under Prime Minister Owen Arthur, the late Prime Minister. He has set up a Religious Advisory Committee, and I represented the Muslim community on that advisory committee, and that ran for a few years. I currently sit on what they term as the Clergy Committee, which falls under now Minister Colin Jordan ministry. So we plan out the National Independence Service and any interfaith activities that go on that they get us involved in. I also sit currently on the Newton Enslaved Burial Ground Development Committee. So that's a committee that was set up even before Prime Minister announced the whole plan for Newton Enslaved Burial Ground, and we started to look at developing that area, which is important for Barbados, I think, and it's something that a lot of Barbadians don't know about, and we should really find out more about the Newton Enslaved Burial Ground. I'm a Muslim chaplain at the University of West Indies Cave campus. I lecture on Islam and Muslims and Muslim culture to schools and institutions, including the Regional Police Training School. So yeah, I wear many hats. Unfortunately, that keeps me very, very busy, but it's been all good. I was former chair of the Childhood Obesity Prevention Coalition. I was the immediate past chair, and we helped to build out a lot of policies relating to, trying to sensitize Barbadians to childhood obesity. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
After you've said all that, I got one question. I ask you, do you sleep?
Yes.
Because let me tell you, you just give a whole essay.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I am on wallboard, and I hear thinking I need
I
to catch
know.
up. I
It's
need to
stress.
catch up with
But
you.
those were over a period of time. It's not all at
Oh,
once. So it's
okay,
over a period
okay.
of time.
Fair enough. So the NCD Commission Board,
Yes.
I want you to just tell or explain the work of this particular board.
Right. So the CARICOM governments back in 2007 agreed that each CARICOM member state should have a national NCD commission. And we had actually, Barbados had actually been ahead of that declaration because through efforts like Professor Sir Trevor Hassel and others, they had jumped ahead and had made NCDs a priority in Barbados and tackling NCDs. And so when that declaration came, we were already ahead of them. Barbados was already ahead of them in the game. And so it was easy for us to transition to a NCD commission. And so the NCD commission came about as a result of that. And Barbados has pride of place among CARICOM members as being those places that have NCD commission. So NCD commission in Barbados was set up under the Ministry of Health and Wellness, well, Ministry of Health then and changed to wellness back in 2007, 2008, and has worked since then to basically its remit is to advise government on the battle against NCDs. So Trevor Hassel led that commission for many, many years. And when he finally decided to resign or retire from that, he said, you know, would it be something that you'll be interested in? And he suggested that I look at taking over, becoming NCD, and I was approved for chair of the NCD commission. It's huge shoes to fill. Professor Trevor Hassel has done tremendous work in this regard, so filling his shoes is big. But I'm happy to be here and to work with persons that, you know, obviously a lot more qualified than I am in the medical field and the health field, but I'm happy to work alongside them and learn as I go as well, and to grow with them and to learn and to build out the NCD Commission as an entity that will continue to do good work in Barbados to fight NCDs.
Okay, that sounds good. So to date, well, that's from 2007. So obviously the committee has done a lot of work over the years. Where do you think to date we are as a country in terms of the importance of fighting NCDs down to the community level? You know, I spoke to Dr. Ekelvaya last week, and I asked him the similar question because, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I still believe, based on how I see people eat, how persons acted up the other day when the schools obviously changed up a lot of the stuff and things. I personally believe that we as a community still have a lot more in terms of getting to that point of recognizing, you know what, I got to play my part. Because if I don't eat properly, if I don't train my children how to eat properly, we can have an issue. And a lot of people fail to realize that it puts a lot of pressure on the social systems like NIS, drug service, that kind of thing, because the amount, if, you know, we have a whole lot of people with diabetes, hypertension, or high blood pressure, whatever you want to call it, even cancers and stuff like that, you know, it puts a strain on the system. So I think there's still a long way to go.
Well, the reality is that we are facing a crisis as it relates to NCDs. We are facing a pandemic as it relates to NCDs. The surveys and the statistics are telling us this. 83% of our deaths in Barbados are attributed to NCD or NCDs. Majority of our healthcare budget goes into treating patients with NCDs. Majority of the QEH budget goes into treating people with NCDs. Majority of the pharmaceutical budget goes into treating people with NCDs. So we are at a crisis level. And as my deputy chair, Dr. Connell, said, it's escalating, it's not retreating. So we are at a point where in Barbados, we have to have these conversations at all levels. So you're absolutely right. We have to connect with the Barbadian average Barbadian, with Barbadians across the board, and have these conversations as to what is it that is driving these NCD numbers. And obviously, it has a lot to relate to our diet, to our physical inactivity, and many other factors that are playing its role in driving the numbers up in NCDs. And so we have to start to have these conversations. And our NCD Commission has pledged itself to making sure that we start to have these conversations wherever we can. And we have to meet people where they're at. And we recognize that a lot of persons just do not know what they're consuming. They're not aware. They're happy to eat and drink and feel happy and joyful, but they're not really fully in tune with what is in these products. And so when you tell someone, don't drink that soft drink, it's like you cursing me. You telling me I accustomed drinking these soft drinks. You can't tell me not to drink the soft drinks. It's so the conversations have to start. Do you know what is in a soft drink? Is it healthy for you? So we have to start having a number of these conversations and to try to bring Barbadians into understanding that their health matters and what is involved in what they eat and consume. Simple things like a bit of activity, instead of sitting down the whole day or, not doing a few steps every day or a little bit of exercise, that has to come into the conversation as well, because we're seeing a lot less activity. We're seeing a lot more consumption of unhealthy foods. I mean, our foods are mainly imported foods. We don't go to the local foods like before. So these are all things that we have to start. So it's multifaceted and it's multi-sectorial, and we have to get everybody involved in the conversation because we want to make lifestyle adjustments. That's what we're really asking for. Prime Minister has set us a goal. She said, she wants to bring down new cases of NCDs by 50% by 2030. That's Mission Barbados. It's an ambitious goal. The way that you need to look at this is prevention, prevention, prevention. That's what we have to start speaking about. Unfortunately, a lot of it is spent on cures, which is important because, as I said, we have a high number, but we also have to start talking about prevention. And so we must start to look at those interventions that allow for prevention. And it is those conversations that have to get started. Or not get started, keep going. Because there are a number of civil society organizations that are working at this and have been working at this for a while. And we just need to amplify their sounds. We need to collaborate with them and amplify what they're doing so that more and more Barbadians start to buy in to this. And the other point about this is, and it's only yesterday I had this conversation with someone from Canada, that what we need to tell Barbadians is that this is you, and this is about empowering you. This is not about me bringing down a tax on you or me telling you something. This is about you empowering yourself, knowledge, information. What is it that I am consuming that will ultimately hurt me or help me? It's just about empowering me. It's about making me better. And so when we start to talk to people and say, have that conversation with yourself. Am I eating correctly? Am I doing enough exercise? Do I know what I'm drinking or consuming? Do I know what is affecting my health? These are the conversations that we start to have.
The thing is, every Sunday I have Sunday lunch with my parents, and we often have a conversation around the table. And the other day we had a conversation about when they were children and the fact that at that point in time, you only had white salt bread. Everything was salted because there was no refrigeration.
All right.
And stuff like that. And that's what you had to eat. But you had the ground foods. You had to walk
or ride
a bicycle.
And you run about the yard.
Right. Because yes, you had the bus to take you into town or wherever the case may be. But she said most of the time, if they're going over by an aunt or they're going by somebody else, they're walking from one district to the other. And she grew up in Melverton and St. George. So you walking from Melverton, probably going across to Ellerton, probably going across to wherever else, in the parish. And she said that a lot of people used to walk to town. Then on top of that, old people believe in purging. And I don't think a lot of people do the cleanses that they should be doing and stuff like that. And the thing is that the problem here now is that we have so many things to consume, as you said. There's so many things that are available. And part of the challenge, and I think is one thing that the government should look at, is that the foods that are healthier are more expensive. I came out of retail, so I could tell you I know how
Yes.
it works.
Yeah.
And probably the government may need to look at reducing those taxes and those duties and stuff on those items, so that then if a parent wants to give a child a snack, because a child gonna want a
Yes.
snack, that they're healthier options. Yes, they're fruits and stuff you can give them, but if they want something to buy, they gotta take to school something.
Yeah.
They're healthier options and they don't cost as much money, because rightfully, and I agree with the whole thing with the soft drinks in terms of making them more expensive, because I have seen people with trolley of little drinks with all the colors and stuff like that, that can be good for a child.
Agreed.
You have children starting at this point where they get addicted to these things and they
Exactly.
can't pass using these products.
Exactly.
So the NCD Commission, you say y'all have the task of setting these goals to 2030, you said?
Yes.
Reaching these goals of cutting down
New
NCD
cases of
cases
NCDs
by
by 50%.
50%. So I really have to say, I don't know how the government, the different government offices and ministries working together, but even seeing the mini gyms at the different points around the island, I think that is fantastic, because a lot of people often say, I don't have the time for the gym, I don't have the money for the gym.
Correct.
But no, they don't have an excuse because it's there.
Yeah. But the thing is, you don't even need a gym. You can
You
walk
don't.
through your neighborhood, you can run around your neighborhood, you can do exercises, and you have your apps now, you have your
Exactly.
everything on your smartwatch and your smartphone that tells you how much steps you took in a day. So all of these things help in building out a way. So it's not that you necessarily have to spend money or anything like that that a lot of people cry about. And your point on healthy foods is an important point. And yes, we do recognize that in several cases, healthy options are more expensive. But then it's how people see that, because they see healthy options as specialty foods. And we talked about this in a workshop yesterday. They're seeing healthy options as specialty foods. So then it's priced that way by the marketers and the retailers and so on. But if you start to see healthy foods not as specialty foods, but as mainstream foods, you then start to say, well, you know what? We can bring down the prices on these, and we can start to look at, selling more of these items. And I think that's as I said, again, that's the conversations that we start to have. We need to have government buy into having more of these healthier options, reduce the duties and import taxes on these, and start to have places that people would frequent to start to say, well, let's look at healthier options at a more affordable cost on our menus. Again, all of that is part of the process of trying to build up. But as I said, it has to begin with each one of us. Each one of us have to say to ourselves, I want to be part of the solution. I want to understand that if I eat healthy, I live a healthier life, I live a better life. So it's how do we now start to have those and spread those conversations. So programs like yours and your where you are is important, because you have a following. So wherever people are and they go to, and we need to talk about these things in every possible form that we can. And so our NCD commissioners are tasked with that. The physical activity, we have a team that will start to build out programs and advise people how best they can do that. We have a team on nutrition that's going to be looking at nutrition. We have our communications and engagement team. We also have something called commercial determinants of health, because we want to start looking at industry practices and how we need to start to shape that. One of those main issues is front of package warning labels. We've been calling for that for a while. The Prime Minister mentioned that, but also acknowledged that we are too small a consumer, especially CARICOM. But if we do it together among CARICOM as well as SIDS, we can start to put pressure on the manufacturers to say, look, your products need to carry front of package warning labels. Is it high in sugar? Is it high in salt? Because average consumer goes into the supermarket, you can't read the ingredients. They're too small. They're tiny. You don't even know where they are. You don't even know what to look for.
Yeah.
You just see this colorful packaging, beautiful product to consume, and you don't even know what's involved in the ingredients. So that's something that we're looking at. Marketing to school children. unhealthy foods. And that's part of the school nutrition plan that we want to start to talk about, because we have companies that are marketing directly to school children unhealthy foods and snacks. Direct marketing. They're in the schools, they're in their faces. And so kids now are faced with a dilemma. We're talking about nutrition, but at the end of the day, this is coming at me. And this looks very pretty. This looks beautiful. This is enticing. Whereas the healthy food and all that is not enticing to me. So
I
again,
think it's
we have to
retailers pack their shelves for
exactly
that as well. They put
exactly
things for children at the height that they can reach and grab. So it was
exactly
important that they reach and grab height. The products there are products that are better for you than the corn curls and the other things that high in salt and high in a lot of artificial stuff. And when you were talking just now about the labels, marketing is so strategic because there are a lot of times that packages may have on 0 cholesterol.
Yes.
Or something like that. But then when you look at the back, you see all the sugar, all the sodium,
Yeah.
It's just what people want to market because they want to sell their products.
Exactly.
So yes, I believe that as I alluded to before, there's a lot more ground that has to be covered. But I think
you're right.
as persons, individuals, people outside the government, because a lot of people believe that government has to do it all. But I think individuals and companies and stuff, they need to take the responsibility, because at any day we need a workforce, we need a healthy workforce.
Exactly.
And even like right behind you, you have the beautiful section of the sea. There are a lot of Barbadians that do not know how to swim. And swimming is a good exercise because it brings in a lot of aerobic work, which means that it's good for your lungs, so it's good for the asthmatics. It helps with a lot of things. And because it's cardio, you're burning stuff. So I think even with that, to get a plan where, yes, we have a lot of literate Barbadians, but a lot of Barbadians cannot swim. And persons living on an island, that I think that's one. I think that's one of the most disgraceful comments that a lot of Bajans make. Oh, I can't swim. I don't know how to swim. But I think sometimes the problem is that when the grandmother said, you don't have a back door, I think it puts a lot of fear in people's minds. Oh, I'm not going up there.
Yes, agreed.
Right. So Suma, you've said a lot about your personal journey, about your journey now on the NCD Commission board. And you talked about your predecessor on the board. So my question to you now, at some point in time, you're going to retire and relax and enjoy your granddaughter and the other grandchildren, future grandchildren. What would you like your legacy to be in terms of this particular board you're on now? Or maybe just everything you've done as a son of the soil, a Bajan, a Bajan son, as the old people would say. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh boy, I haven't even talked about legacy. You're aging me, Karen. You're aging me. I haven't even thought about that. But I just hope that whatever I do resonates with people. My famous saying is that we need to build bridges, not walls. We need to build bridges.
Like that.
I hope that what legacy I leave is that I've built bridges of understanding, of acceptance, of people knowing each other, that have built bridges that people can understand more about themselves as well as their society and their community. As I say, I don't really give it much thought. I just do, but and I do it with a love and a passion that I hope that other people will also want to do things as well. And that's what I've left with my family, my daughter, my son, my 2 daughters and my son, and hopefully my grands, that I leave for them, that example that help people get involved, help build your society, build bridges, don't build walls, tear down walls and build bridges. And that's basically in a nutshell what I hope to continue to do and to leave behind.
Love it. I love it.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure. And I think the information that you've poured out there just shows the soul that you have won, and the fact that Barbados has a lot in terms of digging within each other or within itself. Each person needs to dig within themselves individually to really get us to the point that we need to be at. So thank you for
Agreed.
chatting.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
All the
Have a great
best.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye. So thank you for joining us today on the chat. And if you like our videos, subscribe to our channel so that you can receive that alert once we've posted another one to share with you. Until then, Perry out.